So the expectations are now sky high for another visit with Matt Holliday. How you doing, Matt?
I'm good. How are you guys?
We're doing great.
Good.
So
We're glad that you come on every week. It's not
Yes.
just the best segment. Many folks have said it's the only listenable segment, to be honest.
yeah, it's a very fun segment. And I have to ask, are you calling us or here on a game day? Do you guys have the Zags coming up at 2:00?
We do. So make this quick. We got a big game today.
Well, I wanted
Oh,
to...
yeah, we play it too. I'm just sitting here having a little coffee, petting my dog, and just looking forward to my sixth or seventh favorite thing I like to do on Monday mornings.
Love it. So about what's going on with Oklahoma State, though, you said last week you guys were going to Arizona State. So a couple of wins and then some close losses over the weekend to the Zags?
Yeah, Gonzaga's got two pitchers. Well, so far we've seen two or three pitchers that are pitching in the high 90s. So they have honestly, these are two of the better pitchers that I've seen since I've been coaching college in the last 3 years. So it's been tough sledding for the offense the last couple of days, and we had a couple opportunities late in the game and didn't get it done, and had a couple close losses and try to bounce back and get a win today, and then we play again tomorrow. We got a busy week, so we got 3 Thursday, Friday, Saturday against BYU, and it feels like a pro week this week. But yeah, so we had a good couple days against ASU, and we've run into a little bit of a buzzsaw in Gonzaga's pitching so far.
Wanted to ask you about some big league news that you were part of. The Cardinals announced the fan vote to get into the Cardinal Hall of Fame. 5 names: Steve Carlton, Matt Morris, who was it?
Edgar Renteria.
Edgar Renteria, and
George
Silent
Hendrick.
George Hendrick. So you're on the list. Just what does it mean to you, or what would it mean to you to be part of the Cardinal Hall of Fame? I know, you appreciate everything that the Cardinals organization is about and what the fan support. What would that mean to you?
Well, I think it's a tremendous honor to be considered for such a amazing group of baseball players. Obviously, knowing the organization and getting out of the truck on 7 or 8, I don't remember, 7 opening days and shaking hands and spending time with spring training with a lot of the Hall of Famers, and I guess just it's an honor to be considered, and if that is something that ends up happening for me, I would be super grateful and tremendously excited to be part of that group, and as a baseball fan and as a sort of growing up loving baseball, and to be a part of an organization like the Cardinals Hall of Fame would be a tremendous honor. I'm appreciative of my time there and getting to play for the Cardinals. Never mind, the opportunity potentially to maybe be in the Cardinal Hall of Fame would be a tremendous honor and something that I'm a little anxious and excited about, and hope that maybe that will be my opportunity at some point. And like I said, I'm super grateful to be nominated and to be part of the Cardinals organization, part of the Cardinal family, and I just love the city and the people and the organization. So it's been a little rough, not getting excited about Cardinal baseball with nobody at spring training yet. And hopefully that gets worked out soon.
Yeah, here's hoping. I was reading a few national columnists, like 5 or 6 row columns, about how your candidacy for the Cardinals Hall of Fame was buoyed by your involvement with Hot Take Central.
Yeah.
Do you look
Mm-hmm.
at that as maybe the thing that got you over the hump being part of our show?
I'm not sure if it's going to help me or hurt me that I'm associated with this show. I'm surprised anybody knows that I'm associated with this show. I assumed there was 5 or 6 people that listened, and they wouldn't be the people involved with this. But if this is something that could help me, if I could really push, that would be tremendous. I saw on Twitter, Charlie, that you guys posted all the great opportunities and all the great candidates, and I really appreciate that. You didn't single me out as the only one that does come on your show that I might get your vote, but you did I think you did recognize that there was some good candidates.
Hold on. See, now this is where I totally get it, because if I'm Matt Holliday, I also wouldn't listen back to the segment. But in that segment, we did have a nice substantive discussion of who should win. And I did say for this first year, I do think you will and should win. So I understand. I had to tease it.
I broke down the numbers, and even if you weren't associated with the show, and to be honest with you, the fact that you are kind of puts you more into like the current times, the current media situation. So it's a huge plus for you. I think it did get you over the finish line. But if you look at your numbers and the years with the club, and like Steve Carlton, one of the all-time greats in baseball, but he won 70-something games as a Cardinal. It was not only the amount of time you spent with the Cardinals, but compared to like Renteria and Hendricks, your numbers offensively were better. And I think without seeming like we're biased, we pointed out the fact that your resume is probably stronger than the others. We did.
Oh, I appreciate it. Yeah, no, I appreciate it, Jim. Plus, we did a lot of interviews together. I have to say that, you probably owe me one for all the crappy interviews I took. So I appreciate, your support, and anything you can do, Jimmy, would be appreciated.
I'm a power broker in this town, so I'll get it done for you. I don't think it's up to the fan vote. I did tweet out, the thing, and it was far and away people were saying that Holliday will get the vote. Yeah. I don't think there's a lot of controversy over that.
Is that something the show will cover if it does happen, and there is an August ceremony? Is that something the show would potentially cover?
I will be there, and I don't know how closely you follow on Twitter, but we have a brand new logo, and I'm going to get some hats, and I want you to take the Cardinal hat off and throw it down, put a Hot Take Central on it once you get in there.
I'm sure they would be appreciative of that, make sure. I'm sure Mr. DeWitt would like to do the same. Maybe we should get him a hat as well.
I'll get him.
And this is where we're talking with Matt Holliday here. This is one of the many indications that we're not a good show, because I remember maybe it was a month ago that we were asking you about snacks on a road trip, and you said we just drove to Springfield. And then I forgot, you were just also into the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame. That was just about a month ago, right? So did you have a speech? Did you have to give a big speech for that? And then, I can't remember. Are these speeches pretty long for the players at Cardinals Hall of Fame?
Oh, they can be.
Yeah.
But they're usually pretty pithy, though.
But how was your speech? How was your speech for the Missouri Sports Hall of Fame, Matt?
Well, there was a lot of inductees, and so they gave you 3 minutes. And I did not prepare a speech. I didn't. They did this long video. They did. They interviewed a couple people that you suggest they interview, and. So I didn't prepare a speech, and I went second to last, and there was like 10 people that went in. So I knew the crowd was ready to leave, and so I jotted a few notes down as the night went on. I came up with 3 nice little concise bullet points that I wanted to get across, and I think I was actually considering beforehand selling some of my 3 minutes, because I knew that some of these other people they had papers of speech, and so it was some people they had the whole Academy Awards, like when you got to 3 minutes they started playing music, and then the host of the MC would come up and sort of start rubbing your shoulder or like pushing you, like it was they were trying to keep on time, and there was definitely some people that pushed the limit a little bit, but I wasn't one of them, and I probably won't be the longest speech if this does happen or I get in the Cardinals Hall of Fame. So I think honestly, kind of a question and answer with Jim would probably be my preference.
Ooh, nice.
We did one of those. I think it was for Cardinal Glennon, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah,
and it was.
We did.
I honestly, the time flew. It was really fun doing it. But that's the untold secret, and you're a guy that still has things that you want to do and interests. When you're like a media guy that's kind of just coasting along, and you get asked to host something, and you realize, wait, they wanted me to write a speech, so you go up there and you go, instead of hearing me drone on about something, let's open it up to questions. That's the easiest way. And I'm telling you, every media guy has done that.
So
Yes, it's actually the way I prefer it too.
So Matt, if I'm sitting in a lot of Hall of Fames, you've got a presenter that comes up. They take somebody that's played a big part in their life or their career, and they say, "This is who I want to have.
Be me.
Bring me into the Hall of Fame." So when you look at all the people that you had connections with in St. Louis, all the people in the organizations, teammates,
Danny
players.
Mac.
Me.
If you had to do a ranking here, you had to pick them. How close is Cat to the top 10 or so?
Oh, unfortunately, it's a 7 or 8 year period, so he sneaks in the top 10 somewhere.
There you go. One.
Yeah, as far as that goes, he'd be pretty high up there. I don't want to get his head too big, so I'm not going to give him the honor of putting a specific number on his ranking. But he, as far as like regional journalism goes, he'd be pretty high.
Yep.
So, Cat, it's time to start getting your questions ready for the crowd.
All I know is
words.
that when you think about a presenter, there should be like a list, and you check the boxes. Let's see. Advocate, check. Glib, check. Make you look more handsome and less old.
Ooh,
I can do that for you. I check all the boxes.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, specifically that one. Yes.
Matt, we've asked you a lot about the lockout, and really nothing has changed since last week. But I'm wondering, because some of the latest reports from yesterday is that the union will accept, I guess you have a 45-day period to accept this next year, potentially for 2023, the pitch clock, which could be 14 seconds for nobody on base, 19 seconds with runners on, these expanded bases, and then also potentially banning the shift. Any hot takes on any of those potential rule changes?
I don't know what they're trying to accomplish with them. I guess more offense, faster. I don't know. To me, they seem like just really small. I don't know. I don't think they improve the game. I don't think that they're anything worth even talking about. Obviously, they can't be the hold up on these major issues that are keeping us from having baseball. So I think the whole shift thing, if you can't hit the ball the other way, and I don't like them. I think it's stupid. I think how much time are you really saving if a guy gets a pitch off in 14 seconds instead of 16 seconds or 18 seconds? I mean, the expanded base, I guess maybe for player safety. I don't know. So I don't think that these things really, I don't even pay attention to them. I don't think they change the game. I don't think they really help the game. I do think that there's guys like Joey Gallo and some of these guys that have been very vocal about the shift that are, sort of getting their way, and maybe that will improve their offensive game, and maybe I still don't think that it fixes anything about putting the ball in play more often, and so which I think is probably the biggest kind of bad thing to watch is all the strikeouts. But I don't think this moves the needle anywhere for me, Charlie. I hope that they're not spending too much time talking about these things and trying to get to the real root issues of why we don't have guys in spring training getting ready to play a season.
Yeah, I'm wondering, do you think you'd have the same opinion if you were a left-handed hitter? And I'm asking, just watching baseball, like this bothers me. It's not a huge deal, but when I see a baseball player hit a rocket one-hopper up the middle, and it's no longer a hit these days, or if a left-handed slugger hits a one-hop missile and all of a sudden it's a ground ball into short right field and they make that throw. I don't know. I see that and I just don't like it. Maybe that's just my opinion.
I think their parameters might be, for me, like if you shouldn't be able to play 20 feet in the outfield. I agree with you on that one. I don't think the second baseman should be allowed to go sort of halfway out to right field. And I think that keeping keeping the shortstop or second baseman on their side of the base. I don't know what the parameters are going to be as far as what the rules are actually going to be. I'm okay with that. I don't think that's a terrible rule, but I do think the hitters got to be. You should be a good enough hitter to use the field, and if you pull the ball all the time, I think your average should be lower. I think they should get you out more often. if that's all you do is try to get out and around the ball and you hook it, that's where you should play the players. And so I think there should be some guidelines to that. I agree. Seeing a guy smoke one that should be the right fielder should catch on one hop, and there's a second baseman somehow standing there catching it in the air. I agree that that's not really what the game sort of should look like. But again, I think that that's also part of being a good hitter and being able to stay inside the ball and you be a situational hitter. I mean, I think that's part of the skill of getting to the major leagues is being able to hit the ball all over the field. So I could see it both ways, but I would say that if they put a little bit of a parameter on where those guys could go, would be my take.
Now, Matt, you're at the college level coaching now, and obviously, what you've done in your career, doesn't need an introduction. But we were talking about this earlier. Do you see a difference in how young players are approaching getting ready to do just what you talked about, go the other way, be able to spray the entire field, be able to do it? That could change the impact of a rule like a shift impacting the game at all, or do you just think we're past the point where people prepare to hit that way?
No, I think that that's something that when I'm talking about coaching young hitters or talking about a good swing, I mean, I think it all starts with good swing mechanics and having a bat path that stays in the middle of the field, that stays in the strike zone a long time. When the ball gets a little bit deeper, by design, the bat should hit it to right field if you're a right-hand hitter, and if you catch it a little more out front, it should go to left field. But generally, your ball flight should be to the middle of the field, gap to gap, and so I do think a good swing path, sort of a fundamentally sound hitter should be used in the middle of the field, and that should allow for more contact and less striking out and being able to hit the ball the other way. And so, at least for me, I think that should is the swing that should be being taught. I'm sure that there are still some coaches, or there's still a philosophy of trying to hit the ball pull side in the air every swing, and that typically leads to a lot of pull side ground balls. And so I think that people are taking notice of I think major league teams, it's going to swing back to guys getting on base and being a good hitter and being able to take a single with runners in scoring position. I think it's going to come back around. I think that there is going to be kind of a move back towards the middle, away from all these guys that that hit the ball in the air and they hit it on the ground on accident, and then they're going for home runs, they're striking out a lot, and their miss is sort of the pull side grounder. And so I think that there is going to be a shift back towards the middle, towards better, more balanced offensive players, and there's going to be a place for high contact guys that hit 300 but don't hit 30 home runs. They might hit 10 and be a solid offensive player. So I think it does trend. I think it will trend back that way.
Matt, appreciate the time as always, sir. Go get those Zags, and congrats on being on the ballot for the Cardinals Hall of Fame.
Yes, sir.
Much appreciated, guys. Always enjoy it.
Thanks, Matt.
All right. Thank you very much. That's Matt Holliday, brought to you by the Post Sports Bar and Grill. I told you about the Progressive Happy Hour, Monday through Fridays, 2 to 6 o'clock. Ticket giveaways. They're giving away 2 free Blues tickets at each location once a week, and they will do it for the Cardinals twice a week during the baseball season when we have one, when we have a season. Can we please have a season here?
I hope we're not
soon?
giving tickets back soon. That's the next thing that would happen that would impact St. Louis. That's bad.
What do you think? Are we going to see some progress here over the next couple of days, or not for a while?
Okay, so I hate to pat myself on the back, but I do think that we're trending towards, we had this argument a month ago, and to me, it just always felt like about 140 game season. That's kind of the way I've thought about it, because the players are really dug in. Now, Seth, I remember, said it's going to be about 100 game season. You might be right, by the way. Who knows at this point, right? But I do think the leverage comes that when April turns, if this thing is still going on. But I mean, hell, at that point, you'd have to start a spring training before that.
And both sides said you need a month. I mean, I thought that was stipulated by both sides.
That's what I'm saying. So until the players start losing actual game checks, to me, that's the real leverage, and that's another 3-4 weeks away. So I mean, even if, let's say, that happened then. That was the reason, okay, we're going to figure something out. Then it's a month past that. Now you're talking about the end of May, right?
Yeah, I mean, you've already lost the true prep month in February at this point.
End of April, sorry.
You're definitely going to lose the amount of games you get. Now, some people might say you play too many spring training games as is, but that work in February and the work of where you're getting an opportunity to see the minor leaguers, at the very least, those guys are getting to play amongst each other right now. But, it still is a tough situation. It's going to impact the play of the game at the beginning of the season, no matter when it starts.
It was refreshing to hear Holliday admit that his candidacy got a real push from his association with Hot Take Central.
You said buoyed, right? It was buoyed. It's a great word.
I really want to get that word in for you there, Kat. Now, whether you're actually presenting him inside during the ceremony or if it's just kind of out front as people are showing up, that's a different thing. That's outside of my reach, but I at least wanted to vouch for you there.
I appreciate that. I just knew, as a player, I mean, he's obviously a really good player. I just knew a lot of the stuff he was doing that people didn't even know about. So I was always the guy that made sure people knew that, 3 times during the homestand, that in the 5-game home, whatever it was, he would leave and go to the hospital and sit with a kid who was ailing.
You hear about character clauses in Cooperstown all the time. It's keeping people out. It's impacting that. So I think that in all seriousness, that does matter. When he comes in and how he adopted the city, and, left real legacy there, that should factor into it too.
And his wife gets a lot of credit. I mean, together they've done so much for the community.